trembles under my stride. A shadow falls, but I won't hide.
When people talk about the strongest characters in One Piece, the names are always the same: Whitebeard, Rox D. Zebek, Kaido, Shanks, maybe even Joy Boy. But have you ever noticed something? Every single one of those conversations eventually leads back to one man, Gol D. Roger. Not because he had the strongest devil fruit, because he didn't have one. Not because he ruled the world, because he never wanted to. And not because he lived long enough to build an empire, because he didn't. Roger was dying. Yet somehow, while being hunted by the Marines, competing against monsters like Whitebeard, and carrying a disease that would eventually kill him, he accomplished something nobody else in history could. He reached the end. And decades later, the strongest people alive are still being measured against him. One of the most revealing things ever said about Roger didn't come from Whitebeard. It came from Garp, arguably his greatest rival. Garp explained that Roger wasn't the type to run from a fight, but what made him truly terrifying wasn't his strength. It was what happened when his friends were threatened. According to Garp, Roger would become like a demon. Think about that. Not a monster, not a warrior, a demon, coming from the Marine who spent years chasing him across the seas. That tells us everything we need to know. Roger wasn't feared because he wanted power. He was feared because there was no limit to what he would do for the people he cared about. And if that sounds familiar, it's because we've already met a person exactly like that, Monkey D. Luffy. The similarities aren't accidental. Roger wasn't just a pirate, he was the blueprint. Whitebeard is called the strongest man in the world. Even after Roger's death, people still believed Whitebeard could become king if he wanted. And yet when Whitebeard talks about Roger, there's something interesting. No arrogance, no disrespect, no excuses, only recognition. When these two met, the sky itself split. Their haki collided without their weapons even touching. Years before we knew what Advanced Conqueror's haki was, Oda was already showing us his highest level through Roger and Whitebeard. Then their crews fought for 3 days and 3 nights. Not hours, not a single battle, 3 straight days. And when it was over, they laughed, shared drinks, and parted as equals. That's important, because Whitebeard respected very few people, but Roger was one of them. The strongest man in the world looked at Roger and saw someone standing on the same mountain, maybe even a mountain higher. Now here's the part that makes Roger's story almost unbelievable. He was dying, not after becoming Pirate King, before. Roger knew his time was running out. Crocus joined the crew because Roger needed someone capable of keeping him alive. Every adventure, every battle, every island, every discovery was happening with a clock ticking over his head. Most people hear that and think it makes Roger's accomplishments impressive. I think it makes them absurd. Because while other pirates had their entire lives to chase their dreams, Roger had a deadline, and somehow he still outran everyone. Imagine being so extraordinary that the only thing capable of stopping you was time itself. Years later, Kaido would become known as the strongest creature alive, a man who valued strength above everything, a man who respected almost nobody. Yet when Kaido imagined the people capable of reaching the highest level, Roger appeared among them. Not because Roger had a devil fruit, not because Roger had an ancient weapon, not because Roger possessed immortality. Roger was there because of haki alone, because of willpower, because he represented the peak of what a human being could become through sheer spirit. Kaido himself admitted that haki transcends all, and when Kaido needed an example, Roger was the first name that proved it. That's insane, the strongest creature in the world using Roger as the standard. If Whitebeard was Roger's equal, then Garp was his opposite. Pirate and Marine, freedom and justice, yet despite standing on opposite sides of history, neither could erase the other. Garp cornered Roger countless times. Roger fought Garp countless times, and somehow both survived. To understand how ridiculous that is, remember who Garp becomes. The hero of the Marines, the man who helped bring down rocks, the Marine even Roger trusted with his own son. Not Sengoku, not the world government, Garp. That level of trust isn't built from fear, it's built from respect, the kind only legends understand. Most fans think Roger's greatest accomplishment was finding the One Piece. They're wrong. Finding Labtail was incredible. Learning the true history was incredible. Discovering what the world government was hiding was incredible. But that wasn't his greatest achievement. His greatest achievement happened after. Roger weaponized his own death. Think about it. Every emperor, every supernova, every pirate crew, every marine operation, everything happened in the current story exists because of Roger's final words. The Great Pirate Era wasn't created by the world government. It wasn't created by Whitebeard. It wasn't created by rocks. It was created by a dying man standing on an execution platform. Nobody has ever changed the world on that scale. Not before, not after. This is why Roger feels different from every other legend. Whitebeard left behind a family. Garp left behind heroes. Kaido left behind fear. But Roger left behind a dream. And that dream became stronger after he died. The whole story of One Piece is about dreams. Rightly followed him. Shanks inherited his will, and eventually that same Straw Hat reached Luffy. Roger, Shanks, Luffy, one inherited will stretching across generations, not because Roger was the strongest, but because Roger represented something greater than strength. Freedom, adventure, the refusal to live with regret, the courage to chase the impossible even when your time is running out. When people talk about Gol D Roger, they usually ask one question. Was he stronger than Whitebeard? Stronger than Kaido? Stronger than Shanks? Maybe. Maybe not. But I think they're asking the wrong question. Because Roger's story was never about being stronger than everyone else. It was about becoming the standard everyone else would be compared to. Garp called him a demon when his friends were threatened. Whitebeard called him an equal. Kaido measured greatness against him, rightly followed him. Shanks inherited his will, and decades after his death, the entire world is still chasing the path he created. Roger didn't conquer the seas because he had forever. He conquered them because he didn't. There's no face to face. If you like talking about anime and One Piece just as much as me, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.